seminar / meeting. I don't know what you want to call it. It's a little bit of everything. But so my name is Emily Robinson. I'm the owner of Rallypoint Title and 1031. Happy to sponsor this with Abdel from PRMG Got Mortgages. He's really the AI expert, so I'm not going to dive into that. But I think everybody here, I'm sure, is used to using like ChatGPT. We on the very just scratching the surface at this point. We're all using it to like ask it questions, give us whatever we need, whether it's like a recipe to how to do our business better. And I think we're kind of at a place now, and it's moving incredibly fast with how things are evolving and changing, where it's really becoming a main part of our business. And when you think about title, I know a lot of people don't think about probably how AI is used in title or operations and things. I think from a marketing perspective, we all know how it's used, right? Like creating a postcard, marketing materials, way to find leads, things like that. I can tell you just from my own experience, from when I started in title, it was writing title reports, typing them out on the computer, data entry. Where now we're really at a place of turning something like a title business and the processors we have in place to not only being data entry and editing people. Like now we're becoming sort of like an auditor, right? Like we're reviewing the things that AI is entering for us, or like from our business, maybe it's street addresses, block and lots, people's names, right? And it's very, very accurate. And it actually tells you why it came up with certain requirements. It'll actually, one of the things I'm trying to implement is different kinds of parts of the title commitment where it actually tells you its thinking. So it's incredibly smart. If you're using it on a basic level, I think today will be very valuable to see how it can really change your business and really elevate your business. So I will turn it over to Abdel, the expert in the matter. And thank you all for coming. So.
All right, well, good evening, guys. Appreciate you guys coming. Most importantly, again, my name is Abdel Khawatmi with Got Mortgages. Most of you guys already know how impactful technology and AI has been in our business over the last few years. Really, over the last year, our business has jumped up 210% in net profit with an increase in volume of over 40%. So a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about today is not your caricature versions, right, that Rob loves to put out there, and Danny. We're going to talk a little bit more, which is still very important. If you're looking to stay on top of the trends when it comes to that stuff, those are the guys to do so. We're a little bit more, as I say, kind of behind the scenes building it out. We're all more or less business owners here. So we're looking to build out based off of efficiency and profitability, right? That's at the end of the day why we do work. So topic today, again, becoming a successful modern day professional, okay? So how many of us can agree that we are a bottleneck in our business, right? I know those of us on the Elevate Alliance, we're all raising our hands, right? I always talk about we go through a sales roller coaster. So whether you guys are in a real estate, mortgages, or any type of sales-driven business, how many of us go 1 month, we do really, really well, right? We make our 10, 20, 30 grand. And then the following month, you're like, holy shit, I got nobody else to close. And then so on and so forth, right? We call it the LO sales roller coaster in our team. So trying to understand, and that's the importance of building out an operations that takes you out of that mundane day-to-day and having an efficient process in place, okay? So most of you guys know, obviously, overworking yourself, waking up at 4 a.m. and then staying up until 10 p.m., right? Delegation bottlenecks. We talk a lot with one another individually about the art of delegation, right? How many of us say, oh, nobody can do it as well as I can? Right? We're all guilty of that, including myself. Invisibility. We keep ourselves the best kept secret. Most of us sometimes in the room, if I've met some of you guys with some of our loan officers, you're like, oh, I think we're friends on social media, right? And I'm like, probably, right? Not keeping yourself that best kept secret. Of course, partner misalignment, right? Relying on the wrong people, maybe not fitting with one another, right? That's a big part. And then the last part is obviously time drain, right? You guys know I'm a family man, so it's making sure that that stuff is there, implemented in my business to give me the ample time to spend with my kids and wife. So for those of you who have a pen or on your phone or whatever, let's write down this acronym. It's called BUILDERS, what we're going to talk about today. So B stands for blueprint. The U stands for unlocking action. I stands for that identity edge that you're looking to accomplish. L for leadership. D for distinct branding, right? You guys will notice all the loan officers here are only wearing Got Mortgages or their own individual brand, right? I do not rep anything else, as most of you guys know, except our Got Mortgages brand. E for energy and accountability, very, very big part of how we use it on a day-to-day basis. Replacing yourself is extremely important too. We just started working, Trevor and I, on implementing AI voice and AI text into our business. It's a very, very kind of complex model, especially from a compliance perspective. Today was the day that we actually had the trigger lead bills. Anybody know what trigger leads are? Except loan officers, right? You guys ever applied for a mortgage and before you know it, 17,000 knuckleheads picked up the phone and called you? That is no longer going to happen. So one of the reasons that's no longer happening is now credit costs are increased. That's a different conversation. But again, repeating yourself is super, super important. Smart hiring, utilizing AI, right? How many of us have lied on a resume when we were younger? I'm sure we're all raising our hands, right? When we're doing some hiring, right, the first thing we always do is use that built AI model, which we'll talk about, and ask it to verify this person if they actually do work in that same time frame and so on and so forth. You guys can come. Come on in. And then the last one, of course, is scaling your business without you, right? And the importance of these stuff, of the things that we're going to be able to talk about, okay? Whoop. All right. How many of us use their calendar on a day-to-day basis, right? I love it. Your calendar is the CEO, obviously, in my opinion, of your life. If it is not in my calendar, it is not going to happen. Unfortunately, I am the same way from a personal perspective as well. When it comes to my kids, when it comes to my wife expects me to be at a certain place, she already knows immediately. Took a little bit of time, but to automatically put it in my calendar. If it's in there, it's color-coded. What color is my personal stuff? There's a lot of colors. So maybe I only notice it, but it's red. So it tells me red, right? When I pick up my kids and all that stuff. Yeah. So it's red, which tells me, oh shit, I better be there, right? So mandatory. And then when we talk about our calendar, weekly task elevator and how we build it out. Automation, very important, which we're going to talk about. CRM sequences. Some of you guys who've booked an appointment on our calendar, you get like 17,000 reminders before the meeting. That's not done by us. That's obviously done with the art of delegation. Social scheduling, right? You obviously now, especially with everything integrated, Facebook, Instagram, all this stuff, you can now schedule your posts, which we're going to talk about. And hopefully after here, everybody will have a built content machine. But there's also leveraging AI will also tell you what are the best times to also post as well, right? Like I think I was talking to Rob where I said when we post super early, right? Because I know the first thing we do as humans is grab our phones and then go to Facebook and start looking. The perfect times to post are obviously, in my opinion, in the morning, and we leverage AI to tell us that. Delegation, of course, list building, data entry, admins, so on and so forth. And then obviously eliminating those tasks and those mundane meetings that you don't want to do. So here are examples when it comes to how, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys, as every other goddamn speaker does, but don't actually show you how they're actually doing it. How many of us can agree with that? When you're listening to something on YouTube and you're like, dude, you're not actually fucking showing me that you're doing this stuff. If you guys look at the corner left, it might be small. I have 7 different scheduled tasks that go out on a daily basis to me. One of them is my daily email count. So I get how many emails that I send daily, and I get every single loan officer's email count as well. So I know if they're actually being productive, or if they're being busy, or if there's rooms for growth that we're able to tackle with our managers. Then there's tasks. You guys see that cheesy newsletter that we do, the Got Mortgages brief that we call it on a daily basis when it's posted on Facebook and Instagram. That is not being created by us individually. That's being created by our admins through chat. Daily calendar reminder. So in addition to our assistants, we also get reminded daily from how my day is going to look like, right? So I'm looking at it personally, and I'm also getting reminded on that daily basis. Then again, most of you guys who know, we're very big into KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. You can't tell me that your business is being successful if you're not tracking, if you're only tracking closings, congratulations, right? You're a beast. But you also got to see what did you do in order to get to that 1 month where you had 10 closings, 12 closings, or 2. If you guys could see on the bottom left, that's literally the emails coming to me through chat. So every single morning, it comes in that way. And then that's how you're able to obviously be reminded. This on the right is, so I also run, as Trevor knows, we run every single time a year-over-year breakdown. Because I like to compare what did we do last year in February of 2025 relative to what did we do this year in February of 2026. The example breakdown here was based on how many events. So February 2025, I had 52 business events, which constitutes something like this. A phone call meeting with a client. Everything must be done on Calendly, right? When they're booking it. If it's not, Calendly is integrated with my Google Calendar. ChatGPT is integrated with my Google Calendar, right? So we had 58 events in February 2025. This past month, we had 96 for 2026, which tells me I'm staying busy, right? 38 more events, 65% increase in business events. And this is one that I'm proud of. I had 44 personal events, which is my kids' activities or my gym. And then we actually saw 61 events, so an increase of almost 40%. That's the part, as most of you guys know, that I suck at. Total events, and then obviously that combination between business to personal ratio that I look at. This is all being created utilizing ChatGPT, right? And I'm gonna give you guys a lot of different prompts, which we're gonna talk about, and what are the different ways to do it, right? There's no character pictures of me, right? There's no video avatar, right? We're not gonna talk about that today. Talking about visibility, and I think this is the part, and listen, this is my opinion. I'm not 100% accurate on this. You guys might have your own, but I'm not a fan of the AI videos, right? Where I think it really takes away the authenticity. In some instances, possibly, but I'm not a fan. That tells me that you don't care about me personally to either pick up the phone, FaceTime me, or do that personal video. I really think it takes away that spin. But when we talk about ROI on content, I'm not talking about your return on your investment. So if you guys write this down, R stands for relevancy. Can you relate to your audience, and do you identify the audience that you're looking to talk to? O stands for omnipresence. Can they find you everywhere that you can be found? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, fucking TikTok, YouTube, whatever the case may be. I was just showing Vlad earlier our YouTube channel. Doing the same thing consistently for the last 8 years since we started in the business, and now leveraging AI to tell me if I'm doing it more efficiently or I'm just posting to be blind, right? And then I always consider, and some of you guys might agree, right? When we talk to a lead, there's like 3 categories, right? Cold, warm, hot. If you guys keep adding more categories, it becomes complicated, as I tell our teammates, right? And then it goes contact established, no contact established, pre-approved, or future buyer. Simple. If your CRM, first of all, hopefully you have a CRM, but if your CRM has multiple tags, you're overcomplicating it. It becomes impossible, in my professional opinion, for you to actually train on that stuff, because your mind, as most of you guys know, my mind works at 100 miles per hour, so I always need to remind myself to slow down and simplify it as best as we can, okay? And this is where AI helps. Fuck, I skipped it. So visibility and credibility, right? So those were some of the examples of some of our YouTube videos in the middle. How many of us have actually Googled ourselves, or do Google ourselves on a consistent basis, right? Especially if you're really any profession, right? You want to find out, why is this fucker coming up higher than me, right? If you're doing pay-per-click, if you're just a business profile, do you have your pictures being posted through your business profile? Are you using the updates section? Are you actually using some of the different tactics? And again, it's never, in my opinion, been easier than with AI to get the guidance that you need, right? On the left side, you'll see how many of us have searched best flooring guy. Where's flooring guy? Best flooring guy in Eatontown, New Jersey, right? Or best whatever in whatever township you do. So ours is searched on the right, best lender in Eatontown, New Jersey, and we happen to come up at the top, right? And it gives a different background, and it will tell you what are the reasons why you're being pushed on top. We're going to talk about GEO in a few seconds and talk about how that impacts your business, okay? How many of us think we don't have enough time to shoot content? Oh, that was a trick question. You guys are good. So, listen, it's the importance of shooting content and putting it out there. Obviously, I'm not going to dive into. But consistency, of course, beats intensity, right? You don't need to look your best. If you just got a haircut, you just got your nails done or your hair done, perfect opportunity to grab your phone. A lot of times people say, I don't know what I want to talk about. You don't fucking have to. Grab your phone, pull out chat, and ask it what is the most searched keywords in real estate. Give me 10 of the highest hook action points, which is something that Rob was actually playing with today, on give me the best hooks on how to say this script. Boom, you're done. You throw it on a teleprompter on your phone, hit the record video. If you actually have inconsistencies where you don't, whatever say, or you blurb, you say that actually rewards you, where it's not 100% perfected within the algorithm, and then you're that much more better, right? So an example here that we say is you block out 10 minutes to find a time to book the thing, right? Then you gather whatever headlines you want to do. The most popular ones that we see is a lot of FAQs, which we'll talk about how we're doing our blogs in that style. FAQs, client questions, and then of course, for only 20 minutes, you record. And there's no way why you can't record 8 videos, but what I find that a lot of people do is you're like, I'm going to shoot a video today. And then you go, fuck, and then you just keep screwing up. You did not take the ample time to build that foundation, do the preparation on what you want to speak about, and then hit that phone and hit the record button. Okay? Who's that at the corner left, right at the top? So that's when we started shooting content about 8 years ago, right? Literally, I would work at a law firm, and we would actually leave the law firm, go to my office in Woodbridge, shoot about 8 or 9 videos, and then come back the following month and do the exact same thing and rinse and repeat. And you'll find it funny as, look how less dressed I started getting, right? I'm like, forget the suit. All right, forget the tie. All right, we're going to do polo. All right, we're going to do a shirt and a hair. All right, now you got a sweater and a hat. And it's funny because you're like, all right, I see him always looking like that. The ones at the top, not so much, right? Or the gym. Yeah, there's that too. That and eating. So the stuff on the side, so how many of us have heard of an app called Captions? CAPTI, well, I know you guys have. So there's so many great ones out there, right? There's Captions, there's CapCut. Danny, you probably know better than me. Yeah, Submagic. There's so many different ones out there. The ones that we use a lot on a consistent basis is called Captions. It is not expensive, guys. And I just put a snippet here. We'll probably, for those of you guys who registered, what we'll do, Emily and I will share the slide deck after so you guys have it. So you guys will have access to some of this stuff. I know some of you are taking pictures. But you'll see in there, the ones that I use, there's so much stuff in there. You can use it for a teleprompter. So if you guys take the content from chat and and listen, this is being recorded. So I don't care if you're using Chat, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, whatever platform there is, the cliche saying, like the old way was the best CRM is the one that you use, the same way for chat, the same way for AI. The best AI is the one that you use and actually use it. You don't need to be paying $20 here, $30 here, $40 here, or end up like me building out your own fucking system. So Captions actually does have its own AI avatar. Again, I'm not a fan, but it's plugged in there. I don't get paid, by the way, by sharing you guys, but I'm actually showing you the stuff that we do. Obviously, adding the automatic captions, you can add audio to it, you can add different visuals to it, B-roll. For those of you guys who know, that's like the video that goes over and so on and so forth. All right. SEO and GEO. How many of us have heard of this? What does SEO stand for, Jay? Good. And Dennis, what does GEO stand for? What does GEO stand for? Perfect. So generative, what do you guys think generative means? AI, right? Okay, so and I hate that it's the old way. I think I stopped myself today or yesterday because people are still using Google, right? Like people are still, like we're still kind of like programmed, and then you catch yourself. And how many of us say, what's the first thing when you search something on Google? Are you getting the sponsored ads anymore, or are you getting Gemini's response? And Gemini is AI, right? So that built-in part to it as well, so something to keep in mind. But call it, for the sake of the slide, we'll call it the old way, right? The old way was, how do I get on page one, right? How does Renee get me in front of everybody else in my competition? And then it's focusing on keywords, which is still kind of the other way too, but is it home loan? Is it mortgage? Is it rate? I'm just gonna put down payment assistance because I'm gonna get more clicks, right? I don't wanna do the loan, right? What is the words that are going to put me in front of more people? And then obviously the hardest part to metric it and scale it is just how many people clicked on my shit, right? And that's how I measured it. That was essentially the only way that I knew based on impressions and based on whatever pushes I saw. Do I need to have less questions, more questions, and so on and so forth. The new way now, guys, obviously, within GEO is specifically to do what? It's when you go and you search like we did previously, best professional in a specific township, you want to obviously be the first one coming up there first, right? So when you guys look here, and it doesn't matter if it's AI, Gemini, chatbots, whatever it is, the way that we have found it, again, we are not the experts in this field. This is a very fast evolving stuff. When I talk to Trevor and I'm like, hey, we just built this out, and 2 weeks later I'm like, fuck it, scratch it, we're gonna do this instead. And you really, if you haven't dove in, especially from this side of things, you're gonna be at a slight disadvantage from the ones that did, right? But the biggest part that we see when we are doing this is how to rank in AI, and it's not necessarily previously like it was where you just wrote a bunch of crap, right? And you tried to get as much words and characters as you can to try to pop up. Now when you're posting, it's based on a Q&A format, so FAQs. Because let's be honest, how many of us use chat, and when we search for things, do you give it a story or do you ask a question? That's a question, right? Same exact way, right? Stuff for it where it will pull from, a big part that we've noticed, that we've seen a big uptick in, is LinkedIn articles and Google business profiles. So something I was sharing, I think Dennis, right, together on Sunday, where I'm like, hey, you're doing all this great freaking posting, which is awesome. Let's also take that same stuff and just post it on Google. And it's funny because we sometimes forget. We're like, shit, I told myself I'm going to do that. And then we forget to do it, right? So Google Business Profile is another one. It's literally just, I kind of like train myself to go Instagram, Facebook. I'm literally moving in my phone too. It's like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Then I get out. Then I got to go to my Google Business Profile, right? So I'm going backwards now. Where is this thing? Okay, so here are the examples of us actually showing you guys that we're actually doing this stuff, right? The stuff on the corner left is our blogs. Some of you guys who've come to my office, we've gone over this stuff, right? The team posts 2 blogs every single day. There's a specific step-by-step instruction on where they need to go, what website they need to pull the highest keywords, and then from there, take it. They are now doing this not only for our team page, they're doing it also for some of our individual loan officers as well. So you guys will see the same, right? You guys see that daily Got Mortgages brief, that cheesy newsletter, as I call it, and then you'll see it also being posted on Facebook and LinkedIn as well, okay? So that's obviously a lot. We talked a lot on time. We talked a lot on content. We talked a lot on obviously being found, but we're all in this business to do what? Make money, right? This is probably the biggest part that I really get stuck in the weeds because my job for my loan officers and my employees and my partners is to operate at the utmost efficiency, right? I need to make sure that I never have to touch anything in terms of reserves and optimizing our spend and our spend. So we did a lot of training on this with some of the people in here in our Elevated Alliance. So there's the 50-30-20 rule. Does anybody know what that means? 50-30-20, right? You're spending for 50%. 30% of the stuff that you do is done based on personal leisure, and 20% of the stuff that you do, you're supposed to save to the side, right? So you spend 50% of how much you make, 30% goes to your leisure, groceries, lifestyle, dining, and then 20% goes to savings, right? Actually, it's right here. So your customer lifetime value, so whenever you're doing that, so we have so many different metrics in here. When we're scaling this, though, again, I'm not doing it manually like I literally used to previously, where I'm like, all right, I closed this closed, and this fast, so Pam needs to get paid more because she did this. Then now I got to track this, and I got to find out how much it costs me to make the loan and how much my loan officers need to make so they can make money. It's all built now where I figured out the formulas for my business, as I'm sure most of us have for ours. But these are different metrics, right? So when we're tracking our taxes, fucking taxes, and we're doing that stuff, what are you tracking that is a revenue base based on your sales, based on your services, based on now your costs, right? Cost of goods sold. So if you're a product-based business, and so on and so forth, right? The stuff on the left, again, we will give these slides after. These are the prompts that I literally use on a daily, monthly, and quarterly basis to track. Here's my monthly income and my expectance. Identify my 3 spending habits that I'm draining my finances. How many of us want to run that on ourselves? It's going to be food, 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 right? Build a budget that actually works based on what we talked about, the 50-30-20 rule. Optimizing our debt repayment, so teaching you what's called like a snowball method, right? I know Drew here would know what that is. When you're paying off your credit cards and you're paying off your debt, there's a difference between the avalanche method and a difference between the snowball. All right? Boom. So instead of trying to figure it out on yourself, you obviously can lean on either a professional or some of this stuff to help you obviously maximize on that. And those are different metrics that I really enjoyed tracking. What's my net profit, my gross profit, my operating revenue, my break-even revenue, and so on and so forth. Okay. Leadership standards. So I know some of us in here read the book Simon Sinek's Start With Why, right? Some of us in our book club had read it. So you got to think now, shifting focus from a coaching perspective on our business. It's why am I using AI? How am I going to use it? And what am I going to use it for? And I'm a firm believer. Since reading that book, I think it was about 6 or 7 months ago, right, Jay? Since we read that book, my whole personification on client meetings, my pitches to referral partners, my conversations just completely changed. And my whole outlook, even on artificial intelligence, tech, employees, staffing. Why do I need them? How can I use them? And what are the things that I can have them actually get done? Right? Think about that in your business. Different vulnerability audit. How many of us used to tell ourselves, oh, I'm not the bottleneck in my business. I'm the one that makes the money. That's your first flag. Are you invisible? Very big part. I think most of us here do a good job at being accessible online. And then are you overextended, right? I think a lot of us in here can raise our hands on that. So in here, you guys will see the different analysis that I had done with our revenue team. And the one on the right side was an actual audit based on all the data I gave it. And I plugged it into our custom AI and had it do the articulation. So it said that I had 2,012 business events last year. It also told me, based on the number of closings that I did individually as a loan officer, right? We had 121 closings. That means that it took me between 18 to 22 events to get one closing. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? And then it also tracked what's the meetings that are actually based on, if I had 1 month where I had 19 closings, then another month where I had 6 closings, but I had more client meetings 30 or 60 days before, what took a lot of my time and what did not, right? And so on and so forth. Now, in order to get this nice, pretty little KPI, all you need to do is copy that top left prompt and give the actual data, which it tells you what to give, and you will get this nice, cool, little, pretty dashboard that you can now print and keep accountable for yourselves monthly, quarterly, so on and so forth, right? So we talk about modern day psychology, and then I'll work on wrapping up. When we talk about the impact systems, I also, if you guys are writing down or taking notes, I stands for identify our needs. We need to understand and meet with the client and understand what the client is looking for. Present the solutions in the most accurate way that that client is going to understand, right? I was just talking with Leslie earlier, and we were sharing that. Understanding, how's this client going to want it? Is it going to be on the phone? Is it going to be in person? Are they going to want an email? Are they going to want a breakdown as to how we could articulate and break this down in front of them? Aligning our goals. What's the goal for you? Is it monthly payment? Is it cash to close? Is it interest rate? What are you looking to accomplish? Conversion, and obviously tracking your results. How many people track our business and our closings? Like actually track, like super deep in there. Love it, right? You need to be able to track everything. How much does a lead cost you? Most of us here are pretty much on a commission-based job, right? For the most part, right? Do you know how much you made last year? I'm sure all of us know that answer. And how much does it cost for you to talk to me? It's literally what I tell our loan officers. If I'm going to talk to you for an hour, that's going to cost X amount. Just as if you're hired as a W-2 employee. Do you actually know that metrics? If you don't, run it. Pretty fun. Yeah. And then you guys will see on the left side, I talk about the 4 pillars of when you're going to actually, how many of us suck at prompting, right? Do you guys know what prompting means? Let me start back. Okay, cool. See, I'm getting better. Prompting is as if, the analogy I'll use is when I go to my 6-year-old son, Jimmy, if I can catch him before he gets out the door, is, hey, I need you to clean your room, and the first thing I need you to do is go to your bed and do your bed, and then when you're done with there, I need you to do it this way, and I need the pillows to be at the top, and when you're done there, go to the ottoman and then put all your toys in there. Make sure you put the Legos on the left and this on the right because it's got the whole shebang. So what am I doing there? I'm giving him super detailed instructions on why I want him to do something, how I want him to do something, and what is it specifically that I want done. Okay, so think about that. Just like when we hire a new employee, whether it's an admin, whether it's a loan officer, whether it's a manager, my job is to make sure that they know what the hell they're supposed to do. Because what I think a lot of us end up doing is you're like, man, ChatGPT is stupid. It doesn't understand what I wanted it to do. Well, I don't think you understand what you want. A lot of the times when we have our conversations with our loan officers, we're telling them, dude, do you even know what you want? Right? Oh, this person's not understanding what they're doing, or this tech is not understanding. Well, what is it that you want? And how much detail can you give it? Think about that when you guys are prompting, and it breaks it down, right? Who are you, right? And that's the importance of, in my opinion, always using the same platform, so then that way it can identify how you want it, right? And not scream and curse at it, because then when it comes to life, it's going to beat you up, right, Rob? The task, right? What you want done, the context, and the format. And taking it a step back, when I was sharing with you guys the impact stuff, these 4 prompts here actually are ones that we use, right? You'll see it's super detailed, right? Act as a senior social media strategist with 10 years of experiences, managing brands in multiple industries, analyze the niche, real estate, and identify the most profitable audience segments, their biggest frustrations, their emotional triggers, content consumption habits, and what type of posts make them follow, engage, and buy. Present this in a clear, actionable profile that I can build content around. How many of us prompt like that? None of us, right? So, and so on and so forth. So you guys will see. And it's not just branding, right? It's market positioning, it's content pillars, it's scroll scripting and hook, and so on and so forth. And then wrapping up here, these are what I find to be the top tools that we use. Guys, there's so many out there. These are just the ones, and I always sometimes get tempted to be like, do I still need it? And then I literally, Trevor and I were doing our expenses yesterday. And then I'm like, fuck, do we need it? And he goes, yeah, we do. Because it's being used, it's being optimized. So Fireflies is one. Most of you guys get it. Those of you guys who have come to our Elevate Alliance, you get the recording every single meeting. If we've had private one-on-one meetings, you guys have gotten the post meetings, plus the post, right, that we're doing now with the slide decks and the infographics. Otter is another one. There's Fathom. Zoom has a built-in one, right? Zoom Assistant. The only reason why I don't use Zoom Assistant, I would love to cut out an app, but we do a lot. Google Meet, We go on different Go webinars. We go on whatever it is. So we don't want to be restricted just to Zoom. And what it does, guys, for those of you guys who don't know, is it records your meetings, right? How powerful is it when you could tell a client, hey, is it okay if we have a face-to-face call and it doesn't have to be in person, and then you just automatically bring the AI assistant, and if you set it up correctly, it just jumps in your meeting. You don't have to tell it to jump in. So every single video call that you have moving forward, it's going to get recorded. Super powerful. Now, if the client is on that calendar invite, guys, when that meeting is done, you don't have to lift a finger. The client will get emailed the recording as well, right? Think about it. Super powerful for that added touch. How many of us can follow up better, right? Wow, not everybody raised their hand. Good stuff. Canva and Gamma, I'm sure most of you guys know. Gamma is a PowerPoint curator. It's a PowerPoint stuff. You could just simply come up with an idea, plug it into Gamma, and it will create the PowerPoints for you, literally within seconds. Captions is what we went over. Again, HeyGen, I'm not a fan. If you guys wanted to, you can create your own avatar if you don't have time. And then Notebook LM, which some of you guys have been seeing. Some of the summaries, if you have a lot of content that you want to organize and put together in one, it's a great tool to do so. And then the last stuff, guys. So again, execution is critical. So I know we've talked to some of us here where we have our own custom GBT. If you guys have built one, if you haven't, highly suggest that you do. So it's trained on how you want things certainly done. So we have ours on the corner left, right? I've got two main businesses, right? Got mortgages, so it's trained on guidelines. So if our loan officers in many instances, and they have a question and they don't know the answer, they don't need to go and bother Matt, or they don't need to go and bother our operations manager. They can immediately just go to Ask on Mortgages and they will get answers in seconds, right? It's built with our guidelines, not some random ChatGPT guideline from some bank in Switzerland, right? And they think it's the way to go. It's our guidelines, it's our HUD guidelines, it's our conventional guidelines. Those of you guys who are with us in the Elevated Alliance know what we do. We upload every single time we have a meeting. I upload the meeting notes into our custom GPT. If you guys don't know the answer, you could simply go to that custom GPT and it's going to tell you specifically from what I just talked about and some of our notes that we shared, the answers to the questions that you guys have in mind. These two I won't share with you guys, but what we recently started doing for some of our partners is actually running digital audits on some of our businesses. Where how many of us would like a digital audit done on their business? Where you actually want to find out if can you be found, can you not be found, what are you doing really, really well, what's working on Google, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, so on and so forth. And I guarantee you, once we do it, when I've sat with several of us and I've done it, we already know this shit. But it's just a nice constant reminder to be like, I knew I was supposed to post on Google, but I forgot. Or I knew I was supposed to go and take this and post to LinkedIn, but I forgot, and so on and so forth, right? And then the one on the left, and I'll share it with you guys, is one that we recently just started building out for some of our clients. And it's essentially, how do you want to get pre-approved? And I'll end on this note. Moving forward, when our clients are getting pre-approved, this is a digital audit, and this is the other one. So a digital audit, this is how it would look. We would run an audit on an individual's business. We would tell them what they're doing really well, the market and brand analysis on what they're perfecting, and what they need to do moving forward in order to perfect their business, right? And then this is what we've been sending as our pre-approvals, right? We no longer send regular pre-approvals. The clients get their own custom link. It's a video of us congratulating them, who is the realtor, their actual pre-approval, a actual breakdown on their monthly payment and what their total cost analysis breakdown would be. How many of us who bought a house would have loved getting this? And you might not. So it's identifying the audience and maybe understanding, maybe that client doesn't care about this stuff. I'm still going to put it in front of them because we're programmed that way. They may or may not have the appetite for them to look at this stuff, right? And then there's an actual breakdown. How many of us would have liked to know how much the house in this specific area is going to appreciate? Pretty good to know, right? You might be looking in a house where it's only appreciating 2%, right? And you're like, I don't know if I'm going to stay there that long. A lot of different breakdowns, I think, here. Again, identifying that audience, right? Some of the generation is getting younger who are purchasing homes. Or frankly, those who are affluent want some of this data. This is one of my favorite ones that we do with the team. is if you are wanting to buy a house, but you're not sure if you want to buy now. Well, I don't want to lose out on 24 grand, and maybe I don't refi. Or if I do refi, then I'm going to lose out on $20,000. Doesn't make sense. And then it'll show you the payment difference if you waited would have only been $34 difference between the two, right? $34 and $20,000. Do the math and figure out that break-even difference between the two. Okay? And then the last thing is here, guys. So what do we do for the next 24 hours or whatever time frame you guys do? My first recommendation is your calendar a CEO's calendar or an employee's calendar, right? Is it loaded with a bunch of mundane tasks that you could potentially delegate? If you have the staff to do so, if you don't, that's our goal for end of Q2, for example. Where I want to be able to hire, whether it's somebody in person or virtual, that can handle some of the mundane tasks so I could focus. We all heard the 80-20 rule. I could focus on the 20% of activities that yield me the most results. Again, we talked about, most of us raised our hand, Googling ourselves. I would also add a spin now and also say, I guess, AI yourself, right? Go to AI and search yourself simultaneously online and find out where you could be found. And for curiosity, like what I do is I search not just chat. I will go and search Google, I will search Perplexity, I will search Claude, just so I could find out where I'm popping up in some of those metrics. Define your value stack. Again, why you? Why are you looking to potentially use this platform? Don't just jump in and start using something and then realize that it's not worth the money that you're investing in. And then again, if there's one recommendation I have, is try to pick up one task and automate one thing. So if you don't have an automatic calendar, start with Calendly. If you have Google, I think I just shared this with, I think it was you, Dennis, right? With now, Google has its own built-in booking page. If you guys did not know that. So you guys don't need to go and spend, I think whatever it is, $20 or $12.99 for Calendly. You can actually just go to Google and create your own booking page. I think it recently came out, or frankly, maybe we just noticed it. So reclaim your time immediately, those key important points. That's about it. There's QR codes here. Those of you guys who are interested, again, in that digital audit, again, I don't make a fucking dollar off of this, as most of you guys know, right? The whole goal of this, again, is some of the stuff that we're using, some of the stuff that we're learning, to be able to sit there and teach it, not just to our originators, but simultaneously to everybody here. All right, guys? Thanks, guys.